Welcome back, everyone, to What She Said. You're joined by your hosts. I am Paige.
And I'm Moira.
And you will by now have noticed that we are down another one of our awesome trio. It's just your beautiful Mo and myself.
Yes, Dave has one less supporter, so that gives him a grand total of 0 supporters here. Not here, Dave, not here. We are Team Jimmy.
That's right. Team Jamie all the way.
Absolutely.
We got your back, girlfriend.
And we're having a beverage to get us through the recap that was MAFS. So join us.
Cheers to us.
Have a wine. Paige is having a Savvy Bay. I'm having a Prosecco. Grab a tea, coffee, whatever tickles your pickle. Join us. Let's go.
Let's jump down this rabbit hole.
Ching ching.
I don't even know where to start.
So I guess what did we have? The commitment ceremony. I still got the feeling that Dave wasn't interested in Jamie.
So the ceremony saw the breakdown of Jamie and Dave. That was horribly sad for me because I've always been team Jamie and Dave. And he's just so nonchalant.
Yeah, it does seem like he really wasn't interested. And she's sitting there going, I have no idea what's happened, because as far as I was aware, everything was going fine until it wasn't.
They've been the strongest ones from the beginning. And yes, Jamie has said that she's loved him, but that's not a reason to tuck your tail and run.
I don't think so either. He's fueling the fire in her head of, is this all me and not him?
That's right.
Is he not even on board?
That's right. And then that led into...
Yeah, so Adrian and Awfina, I have nothing to say on that. Nothing new there. And it's the same with Rhea and Jeff.
Well, let's be honest. Rhea and Jeff are pretty loved up.
I really think that them having a pre-existing relationship has helped them.
Strong foundation.
Exactly.
I agree.
Yeah. I guess the next big thing was Veronica and Elliot. So they both chose to leave. Thank God, because I couldn't have watched another week over.
No,
I
agreed.
think that was dead in the water last week.
There was no reasoning for her to stay.
She probably just wanted some more acting experience. I was a really good actor. Look, I pretended to love this guy. Then I pretended to hate him. I was playing a multitude of roles. I did think their communication was very combative. They disagreed a lot.
Hands down, the worst.
I think I actually think he was really trying to redeem himself and be like, is this what Lauren thought of me? Because you could see in his head sometimes he was like, oh my God, what is going on now?
Yes.
What now? What is happening?
He was genuinely trying to communicate with her.
Yeah.
And her communication style was very aggressive towards the end. Elliot would say something and she'd be on defense.
Yeah.
Immediately.
It feels like it all stems from that first dinner party that she had with him. And his reaction to Lauren, and also her conversation with Lauren.
Yeah.
And she just made up her mind then. Now, this is the thing, right? Two people can be toxic to each other, but those two people in a different relationship could be absolutely wonderful to their other partners.
That's right.
So Lauren and Elliot, having come into this experiment a second time around, they were like, okay, I'm not going to get what I want. Let's not go looks wise. Let's try and delve deeper into why the experts put us together. I think he was testing MAFS to see if he threw his toys out of the crib, would they give him someone else that he wanted? And he didn't get that. And so the second time around, it was kind of like, okay, I better be on my best behavior and actually give this a proper go.
I do appreciate the fact that Elliot in the end said, I've learnt not to judge a book by its cover, that there's more to a person than what's on the outside.
I think that was actually kind of backhanded, because I think what he meant was, Veronica had the looks and everything, but she's an absolute psycho. Yeah. So she's saying that Elliot was putting on a persona for the group. I actually think it's kind of the other way.
Yeah.
Behind closed doors, who knows?
That's
I did find it interesting, though, that when the expert said to Rhea, well, how did you enjoy your 3 days with him? And she was like, yeah, we had a great time.
I really enjoyed his company. We had a good chat.
Games. And then he was, like, you've never asked me to play card games. And he was like, yes, I have. And everyone then was like, the whole getaway, that's all he was doing was playing games. But it was good, Adrian having his back as well. And saying, well, have you given them the chance? Have you been there long enough for Elliot to show you how to play the games? And then everyone was just backing him and going, yeah, on the getaway, that's all he was doing.
Yeah. Asking who wanted to play games, play chess, play cards.
Yeah. So I think her mask slid off her face pretty fast after that. So,
yes.
Good riddance, goodbye.
Yep. Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
Or do.
Or do.
Jacqui and Ryan, how these two are still here is beyond me, but they're still here. Ryan was asked, did he learn anything from Feedback Week? And he was just like, it was a character assassination, essentially, and brought up the stay-at-home dad thing. And Jacqui told the experts he was offended and she needs an equal opportunity. I think she's getting ahead of herself a bit there.
They're already talking about kids, and it's like, guys,
Well, she's
you
bringing
can't
up scenarios of kids. Yes, exactly.
I was really disappointed in the fact that he made such a hullabaloo about being a stay-at-home dad. I don't think it's anything to go, I would never do that. Like, that's just saying I don't necessarily feel as though I've got the tools in my shed to enable a young person to grow.
But then that's him having to admit that he's not capable of doing that. By now, he should understand they've been together, 6 weeks? I'm getting it, he should be getting it. She jumps to the extreme example, right? So she's like, if I get an offer to go to New York for 6 months, or I'm in a coma, will you step up? I think essentially what she's saying is, it's not about you being a stay-at-home dad. It's more about, will you support me? Like, can you step up to the plate? All you had to say was, if the need arises, then I will be there for my family regardless. But
yeah,
whether he believes that, I don't know. Because it came across like he found that situation to be beneath him, and he was
insulting that she'd even asked that. That's how I read the whole situation. He was insulted by it.
Yes. Yeah, well, that's how it came across to me. So, look, interesting kettle of fish, these two, but they continue to battle on, so battle on they must.
Yes.
Beth and TJ, they're both staying. So she said that she thought he wasn't attracted to her, as they've only had sex once and then not again. And he's saying the same thing that Billy did about how they're trying to establish a connection, emotional connection first. And he's starting to lean into the Dave side of things, where he's like, it's not there for me yet. I don't know about this TJ fella. He's giving me weird vibes.
And like he says, I wouldn't be here if I didn't want to be here. But then she's saying, this is how I need you to show me that we're progressing. I'm doing all the things that I can possibly do for you, but you're not reciprocating.
Wasn't he on another reality show?
He was.
Some island thing.
Shag Island, I don't know.
And then we had Karina and Paul. So he wrote the letter calling her the snob and that she was judgy.
Yeah. It's around a conversation that you've had behind closed doors. It wasn't privy to the outside world, and you think that you've had this discussion with someone that you trust, only for them to turn around and break that trust by spreading it to the person that it was involving, when it was just a conversation between you and with someone who you thought was your other half.
Look, essentially, she shouldn't have said that comment, and he also shouldn't have broken the trust that they had together. To say there's a sensitivity chip missing in Paul because he didn't consider Karina and Awfina's feelings, that's a bit of a step too far. I don't think there's a sensitivity chip missing. I think he's being a bloke. I feel like guys don't consider people's reactions and emotions when they say things. I think they just say things. I do think he failed to see where he went wrong in that whole scenario.
And he was arcing up about her coming at him. He was trying to say, you then got angry at me. And I was like, mate, she's got every right to get angry at you.
Yeah, but then let's flip the scenario, Paul. Had you have told Karina, bagged out Dave, and she went and told Jamie what you'd said about Dave, you would be annoyed at her. You'd be like, well, hold on, I told you that because I was venting to you. I didn't tell you that so you could go and tell her that. Because now she's going to go and tell Dave. I think if he, and sometimes with people, as logical as that sounds, you're not always dealing with logical people.
No, that's right.
The roles had been flipped in a situation given to him. It'd be like, well, you would be annoyed with me if I did that, wouldn't you? Oh, well, yeah, I would. Well, this is exactly the same situation. I've told you something and you've gone and told someone else who knows
seeing
that
it from
person.
a different perspective.
Right. But instead, they chose to say you have a sensitivity chip missing and you're lacking emotional intelligence. They were trying to bait him. I don't understand how these experts, why they're using this kind of language instead of saying, well, can you not see it from a different perspective here, Paul? But that doesn't make good TV, does it?
No, that's right. But I mean, it should, because it's meant to be highlighting how couples interact. And yet it's not.
No, And this is exactly what happened with the block. The block started off about renovating houses. And as the seasons have gone on, it has become more and more about the drama and the bickering and the fighting.
Getting away from the actual purpose of the
Correct.
show.
But I guess maybe that's what the audience is looking for. It's just become a ratings. So
literally, and there's no care. There's no accountability.
No.
There's nothing in regards to the safety of people that are on the show or the safety of people that are watching the show, because some people might be going through exactly the same scenarios and situations, and they say, well, that's the advice that they're giving to that person, then I'm going to take that into my relationship, and then it all falls apart, and they're like, well, I took the advice from an expert on reality TV, which is only doing it for the ratings.
Entertainment purposes only. Exactly. Look, it just brings me back to the whole point of, if they want this to be successful, they need to really be focusing on people who have a relationship and their relationship is starting to maybe break down. And do you save it or do you go?
Yeah.
Or it's just got to go full reality, Big Brother style, like we've been talking about.
Exactly. And I really think that it needs to go full reality. Fishbowl the whole thing.
The way that they have been presenting it and the way that they have been editing it is going that way. So either just lean into it and go that way, or use all these tactics for married couples. And it's harder with kids. Once you become a parent, you start to lose either yourself and your relationship. So instead of becoming partners, you become parents, and that can really drive a wedge between a lot of couples. But that's where you have to keep working on your relationship and having that one-on-one time. So the whole point could be, let's take it back to when you were dating, let's get to know each other again. Some people may have been together for 20-30 years. You're not the same person. Claiming to be married at first sight and trying to get these people to work out is a bit of a joke.
That's right. It's very difficult. Difficult.
How it's landing is a bit difficult to believe. It's like Jacqui and Ryan. Right? You see it and you go, how? How is this still going?
Yeah.
We need to leave. And
you're not making any sense anymore. There was no sense in the beginning.
There we go. So
making sense.
MAFS is Jacqui and Ryan.
Doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense, and it still continues. And everyone else is going, how? Why?
Because there's people out there that still want to break into the reality TV world. Yeah. And what they want to do is get married at first sight.
Oh, and look, I don't doubt that people absolutely live for the drama. They absolutely live for it.
I'm not going to lie. I would still like to find a husband. And that's why I want to go on the show, because potentially getting set up with someone who might work.
And if that guy doesn't work, there's like 6 others in the room. So, you know. You could be a Jacqui. You could end up with Clint. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
The next episode then takes us to the homestays. So they all go off to each other's homes. I knew from social media that Jacqui's homestay was not her home.
Yes.
And I completely am okay with this reason.
Me too.
Yes.
Actually, me too.
I am completely fine, and I feel like that's very fair for her to say, I didn't want the filming because I share a place with a couple of other people and it's an invasion of their privacy. Completely agree. And it's too small for the amount of people that need to be in there to film.
Exactly.
Absolutely agree. Not a problem. It's about the lifestyle and how you're living and how you're going to integrate them into your life.
But also, I don't think that having a film crew necessarily in your house is okay anyway. Then people will be like, now we know where she lives. I think it just comes down to privacy.
That's exactly what you could argue that with the Meghan Markle thing. People are in such an uproar about Meghan Markle not filming her show at her house. And it's like, hold on, this is the only bit of privacy that I will get.
Sanctuary.
So that my kids and my husband can continue living while I'm working and not feel an invasion of privacy. You know, everyone's just going to be looking in the background.
That's right.
How much does that cost? And, and just picking apart, really, essentially. So, look, I completely understand where Jacqui's coming from and I don't have an issue with it. So I was more interested in how they integrate together as opposed to her house.
Which clearly they did not. That episode, I've grown to like Jacqui.
Yeah.
But that episode really, that hurt. And the reason why I say that is I don't know whether or not she's been portrayed or whether or not that's actually how she is, because there was some ways that she was acting and the words that she was saying. I thought that's not a very nice person.
Yeah.
That really isn't a very nice person.
Yes. So I don't think it was fair for her to assume that he would be the one moving.
Yeah.
That was a conversation for another day. This is just let's see if our lives will mesh together. Come and stay with me, and I'll come and stay with you, and we'll see where we end up at the end of it. I feel like that was really too early in the stage to say, "Oh, are you going to move to me? Like, how are you gonna feel about living in Manly?" But then she's also not considering it on the flip side.
No, that's right.
But yeah, I also thought to myself, why after 6 weeks are you now saying that his beard is not manly and he should shave it off? I get that when we first met her before the wedding, she was like, I like a clean shaven face. Okay, well,
and blonde hair.
If you've been bringing this up for the last 6 weeks and he still hasn't shaved, there's a reason, and he obviously doesn't want to. Stop trying to change him. But to then say to him that he has a small brain is rude. And if he hadn't said that to her, she would have cried. She would have come up with a million
I think she would have done more than cry.
She would have come up with a million words to say, you're demeaning, you're being mean, you're hurting me. So the fact that she's saying it to him, that's not right. She shouldn't have said that.
Exactly. I agree. So, the wording that she had and the way that she conducted herself, do not agree with.
So look, that was them. Adrian and Awfina, he was trying to get a rise, saying your sister should be nervous.
Exactly.
And that Cleo should apologize to him for screaming. Cleo was trying to make a point of, no, you don't get to sit here and bully my sister. You haven't heard the other side of the story.
She's very articulate.
She's great. I loved it. What I didn't get, though, was why Cleo was asking the questions that Awfina should have been asking with regards to Adrian moving to Perth. It just seems odd. That shouldn't have been a shock to anyone, right? And I can imagine if he had said to her, move to Sydney and move her away from her twin, that would have cut the mustard. They wouldn't want to leave their siblings. And it looks like Adrian has quite a tight-knit family, and so does Awfina.
Well, he's a twin as well, so...
Yeah, I don't think that you could break that family unit up, so that was never going to work.
No, I agree.
So, look.
And then there was Jamie and Dave.
Yeah.
And while they have mended somewhat, Jamie decided to stay in a hotel room and Dave went back to his house.
Yeah.
After the conversation with Jamie's sister, Dave started to go... oh shit, do I actually want this? And maybe the penny has slightly dropped in regards to, well, I've put this effort in.
Yeah.
I do like her. I do want to see where this is going. So I'm going to have to put some more effort. I don't need to say that I love her, but I need to show her that I do romantically find her attractive and I do romantically want to continue in the relationship.
That meeting with her sister was kind of how it has been for everyone. It's an eye-opener from an outsider's perspective to their loved one to say, are you hearing what I'm hearing? Because he did need that from her sister to say, you've been in your bubble and what you're doing is exactly what you did in the last relationship.
Absolutely.
She obviously needed to hear that and find out what was actually going on without her rose-colored glasses on. And then we had Paul and Karina, and
that really made me laugh.
Crucifix in the bedroom.
Gosh, yes. And I fully understand because my nan was very religious.
It just reminded me, Granny used to have like Mary in every corner of the room and the the photo of Jesus above your bed and the crucifix. I get it. It made me laugh.
My nan had a long stitch of the 10 Commandments.
Look, religion offers a sense of community and they definitely have that. And I guess it's a nice typical Italian family, like big family, get together. Like I love that environment from it. But I wasn't overly excited about their homestay. It wasn't really interesting for me anyway.
Yeah, because I don't even remember anything else aside from the aunt. And she was like... she's already 75% in love with Paul, so...
Yeah. Yeah, so then we moved on to the next episode, and can I just say, it feels like because this experiment is almost over, the pressure has ramped up. And so you can see where there might have
Yes.
been little cracks starting to appear in some relationships have started to become unavoidable. So I
Mm-hmm.
think the feedback week definitely did some damage to Dave and Jamie, but it needed to happen because he was never going to say how he felt and she was always going
Yeah.
to live in that bubble. But also, I feel a bit for Beth and TJ because they've had to speed up their relationship. And you do need to have time with someone and you cannot rush time.
And especially because Beth hasn't had a serious, proper relationship. She's
Yeah.
going into one hoping that the relationship that she's forming with someone is going to be a good placement for her for future relationships. Or not even that, like this is the one and only that she's going to get into.
I think she just wanted a relationship with someone who was
Mm,
legitimately trying like she was.
mm.
So anyway, kicked off with Jeff and Ree, and look, there's nothing new there.
He did give her his key.
He
That
did.
is so cute.
Yes.
And he's
I
like, please come over a lot.
Yes, but I did expect to see more of a reaction from her. I don't know if how many
I
times
think,
it looked like they
oh,
had rehearsed that.
I really think that they rehearsed and rehearsed. And then by the end of it, she's like, would you just
Yeah, this is the
allow me to
last
get the
shot.
key?
Yeah, so cute but boring. So then Jacqui, they've had their time in Manly, and now she's going to his house in Campbelltown. It was a
Mm.
typical boy house, and it just made me think that when he bought his house, his mum must have gone, here is 4 boxes of
All of
all of
your
the
stuff.
shit that I kept from your bedroom and all of your
Yeah.
years. Here's all your Pokemon stuff that you collected when you were 4, and here is all the samurai and the anime, and here is all your artwork from year 1. Like it just felt like she must have just gone, take this shit out of my
Yeah,
house.
I
It's
don't
your
want it
problem now.
anymore. You
Yeah.
can collect as much as you want in your own
Yes.
house. You're
Yep.
not leaving it here.
It's not coming back to my house, mate. Take it with you.
I do appreciate and I completely understand where Jacqui was coming from.
Yeah.
Like she goes, I really feel sorry for Ryan. It just shows how lonely he probably is. And I can appreciate that because well, you've been to my house. I do have trinkets everywhere and they're because they're full
Oh,
of memories.
your house is nothing like that. When I met my husband, he had those grey dragons, like ornament
Yeah.
things, and his mum used to buy them, and I can't stand them. I cannot stand ornaments. My mum used to have ornaments all over the house
Yeah.
that she would collect or be gifted, She liked one pattern one time, and then every year after that, there was the same pattern in a different shape. Like a little dish, or here's the ring holder in that thing, and then, here's
Oh
the part,
gosh.
and I used to,
Wedgwood.
yes, well, it was Wedgwood, it was Blake, it was Ainsley, it was you name it, we had it.
Oh
But it was
gosh.
just, and then I had to obviously dust and clean them all.
Yeah.
Jesus,
No, I
like,
don't
so,
dust. I just let it collect.
and then I just go, I have 3 kids. That is never going to survive. So what's the point? I have some trinkets of things, but they're in glass
Yeah.
cabinets where the kids can't get them. But I do think in her head, she thought if this was displayed in a nicer way, it would look much better.
Yeah.
But this is her extreme. She goes, oh my God, he's like an elderly.
Tidied it up.
If we tidied it up and put it in like anime and Pokemon and
Yeah.
samurai, I get it. It would
Yeah.
look really good. And I would be annoyed if someone came to my house and tried to start rearranging my shit. I'd be like,
Yeah.
no, no, don't touch my stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not asking you to come here and fix me. Maybe ask, why are you into anime? What is this? Where did you get this samurai sword from? Start a conversation.
Yeah.
Look,
Instead of standing there going, oh my God, there's stuff everywhere.
I get that, but you do still have to have an understanding of this is who they are, this is their life, and
Mm-hmm.
this is how they're living, and how are we going to mesh this together? But it all
That's
comes with a
right.
story. Like people just don't have things for the sake of having things. It's just
No,
usually a
everything's
story.
got a memory tied to it.
Yeah, most things.
Everything that I have has a memory tied to it. I may collect things and I may not be able to throw things out, but it's because it's got a sentimental value to me.
Just trying to see it from the other person's perspective. I think is really all
Yes.
he was really asking for.
Yeah,
And then they met up.
exactly.
Then they went for the dog walk. He was getting annoyed, frustrated about it.
I don't understand why. And because he was standing there and he's like, I know the ins and outs of my dog and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, mate, I know the ins and outs of my dog as well, but I'd still let someone else walk her
Yeah.
without trying to correct the whole thing.
Yeah. The friends
Mm-hmm.
catch up, though, was a bit intense. This is what happened whenever Athena and Adrian met up with their family. It was
Yes.
almost like they were trying to be the spokesperson for whatever they had heard. That's not your place, that's their relationship, and you need to stay out
Mm,
of it and let them deal with that. Your
yeah.
place is, well, how are you guys feeling now that you've been to hers and she's been to yours?
Exactly. Or be
That's it.
constructive about the
Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah. I feel like that's a bit much. It wasn't the girl's place to bring up the letter. That was Jacqui's conversation with Ryan.
Yeah.
And she was like, I know Ryan's character, like, because we've known him for so long. This is my thing, right? You can know someone from a friendship perspective and you can hear their side of the story if they're coming to vent to you about a
Yep.
relationship, but you will never know how that person is as a partner in a relationship unless you are that other partner in that relationship
That's
behind those
right.
closed doors. You will not
Mm-hmm.
know it unless you're on the receiving end of it. So
That's right.
you don't know him as a lover, a partner.
And I want to know whether or not when this obviously this was only just aired, but whether or not they were still editing this like 2 weeks ago. And the reason why I asked that is because Jacqui has been very vocal about the mistreatment
See
that,
what you're saying. Are
yes,
they now flipping her to be in a bad light because she's gone
yes,
against the grain? Yeah.
exactly.
Potentially. Yeah. I mean, they
Mm,
would have hours of footage, right?
exactly.
And by the time that she started doing this, and she started doing this quite a few weeks ago. So, yes, they
Mm,
could have turned around and gone, we need to re
yeah,
edit this episode to show her in this
in
light.
a different light. Mm,
Absolutely. Could have. Yeah. Good point. Good
mm.
point. I guess we'll never know.
We'll never know. Unless I run into her down the shops and I'll be like, Jacqui, do you want to come on my podcast and just give us your
God, I would
story?
love.
Just sit in my lounge room.
Yeah, she'd be like, "Oh my God, it's another elderly's home." Beth and TJ. Oh, look, I don't know. Don't know about this guy. I feel like he was like Dave and applied for, F Boy Island and found
Mm,
himself on MAFS and was like, "Hold on, I better just make the best of this because I've already got the leave from work."
yeah, that's right.
When he was sitting down at the table with her friends and her parents, it did feel
Mm-hmm.
very much like an acting gig for him. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
glad that the sister and the friend picked up on the overuse of friendship.
That's right. And the friend was like, these answers are very rehearsed.
Mm.
And then he pulls her aside and says, I don't know whether or not you're picking up on this or not, but everything that he's saying sounds as though he's saying it because that's what he thinks we want to hear and not the actual truth from him.
I agree with him. It was like, I
Yeah.
care about her. Yeah.
Yeah. And her mate's like, her best friend's like, I care about my dog.
Perfect example, right? He gave an example.
Yeah.
That's not cutting the mustard, mate. So the commitment ceremony, he was saying, I need a connection to be intimate with you again. And then she's saying before they even got to her parents that they were intimate again. And so she's thinking in
Mm.
her head, right, well, he's getting there.
This is
Uh-huh.
what he said from his words was in order for me to be intimate with you, I need to
Mm-hmm.
have a foundation of feelings and those feelings need to grow. So obviously, if he's going to initiate that, then you're
And
like,
and
awesome. We're
then
both progressing in the same direction.
uh-huh. And then to turn around and say, you wanted to sleep together and I was just thinking of your needs.
Oh, bullshit.
Essentially, I just slept with you because it's what you wanted. It's not what I wanted.
Like,
I just don't like this little weasel.
no. And then goes to the friends meeting and was like, how am I going to progress feelings with this girl? I was like, mate, she's sitting right there and she
Yeah.
has a name. And I appreciate what her dad said. If it was all to end tomorrow, would my daughter walk away with a broken heart? And he was like, we've got to see where it goes. It's
You've got
either
a
a
week.
yes or a no.
Yeah.
Are you in it for the long haul? Have you already checked out?
Yeah. Which then takes us to the dinner party. And so this was the thing about the dinner party, right? Is that the whole way along, especially with
Mm-hmm.
Jacqui and Ryan, when everyone was trying to support
Yep.
you through all of those situations, you were like, no, we're having a really strong relationship. I support my wife. And everyone was going, what is going on with you guys? So now you want everyone's support. No one knows what to do and what to say because it's like, okay, but after this, are you two going to be like back on the couch going, oh my God, I want to stay because I really love them? No one knows.
That's
No one
right.
knows whether they're coming or going with
Whiplash,
these two.
right and
Exactly.
center. There was a lot of times where Jacqui was caught out in a lie.
Well, she read the letter to Jeff, so she really couldn't
That's
hide.
right. I'm so confused in my feelings towards Jacqui because I really want to continue vibing for her. You know, I really want to be Team Jacqui still.
Yeah.
But after the dinner party, I was like, how can I still be Team Jacqui when you've been caught in a multitude of lies?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really difficult. And I'm
It's a typical
very
lawyer trying to catch people out on a technicality,
yes.
isn't it?
Yeah,
Well, they're not the words I used. The words I used were this, and so my meaning
that's
behind that
right.
is different. Well, essentially, you mean the same thing.
It's all the same thing. It's
Yeah.
just worded differently.
So then Jamie and Dave. So I'm so sad for her because I can imagine if feedback week never happened and if she didn't bring up her issues, she would still be in that bubble. But that's not
Yeah,
fair. And I
agreed.
wonder if she sat there thinking, I regret opening my mouth and putting my issues out there, which is not how you want her to be in a relationship moving forward.
Nope. Look, they started out doing all of the things that the experts had put in front of them. And until she put out there that she loved him, which was when Dave was gone, well, shit, she loves me and we're 6 weeks into this. You're living together 24/7 up to the 6 week period. Now, that's a lot of time. And I would hope that during that time, you wouldn't just fall into a pattern of waking up, continue on the pattern, blah, 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 blah. It's a getting to know you. I need to know more of you in order for me to really fully understand who I'm with and making a judgment call around whether or not you are in that relationship for the long haul.
Like, I feel from her side, from her perspective, she's getting everything she needs.
She's being fulfilled.
Other than more intimacy.
He's showing up for her in the ways that she needed from him at that time.
Yeah.
And then when she pointed out the fact that she does actually need other things and he wasn't doing it for her, that's when he was like, but I am.
When Jimmy was saying to him when they were at the pub, well, are you going to romance me? Are you going to do some surprises for me? It just made me think of Jacqui and how Jacqui had to ask, are you going to buy me flowers? And it was like everyone gave shit to Jacqui for the exact same thing. And yet here she is asking the exact same thing of Dave. It was nice to see that him then go and visit his family and take her with him. That was
and the fact that his dad was like, I really like Jamie and she's really good for him.
Yeah.
I thought that was really nice.
Yeah. And I guess you can take that with a pinch of salt, given that they have only just met her. Like, look, jury's out for them. Just another week on MAFS. The circus continues to roam.
It really does.
So is this the last couch session on Sunday?
This is the last one.
Thank the Lord. No.
Well, there is also the reunion.
Well,
and I have a feeling that is where Jacqui and Clint really get to know each other.
A few things, right? Potentially, that is true. I remember reading an article that Sierra coming back and having her 2 cents worth with Awfina about the whole Billy situation and Adrian situation. Ooh. I don't know what that's about.
Well, that'll be a reunion.
But also, I have heard that they partners get an option. And the option is door A, stay with your partner and continue on. Door B, see who plan B was.
No.
See who your backup husband or wife was. And if you take door B, you can't go back to door A. And
no.
I think we'll be surprised because a few of them go for door B.
No.
Yes.
Okay, this is really giving Big Brother vibes. I'm speechless. I've got nothing.
Yeah.
I'm distraught with this information.
I reckon Paul will.
Really?
Oh yeah, I think he knows his relationship is down the tube with
Sunk
Karina.
in the water.
Yeah. So I reckon he will. I think Adrian will.
Oh my
Well,
gosh,
because he's
really?
like, well, I'm not going to Perth and you're not coming to Sydney, so what's the
Well,
point?
that's true.
Maybe I'll meet someone who's from
Yes.
Sydney. He's already got
Mm,
his fill out of Athena. He doesn't strike me as the type who would come on to actually find love. I think he was
yeah.
coming on to promote himself for his e-commerce business. I think that was just
Well,
a
yeah, that's
business move.
mm.
But I think Adrian will, Paul will,
Do you think Dave
Ryan.
will?
I think Ryan will. Dave, I'd like to say no, but I don't know. I guess it's to be continued. I guess we'll just have to stay tuned.
It's all coming to a head, and
Yeah.
I don't know how I'm feeling. And if this whole thing about door A and door B is to come to fruition, Mo, I'm just going to lose my shite. So, well, folks, you've joined us for another week of the spiraling path that MAFS is going down. Do be sure to follow us on socials. Thank you again for joining us on What She Said. You've been joined by your hosts. I am Paige,
And I'm Moira.
and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.